If you were to visit southern Florida, such as Everglades National Park, where all of these images and videos were taken, and you were to observe a white heron-like bird, you would actually have to go through six different types of bird in order to identify it. So, for example, this is a smaller white bird. So as far as egrets go, it wouldn't be a great egret, it wouldn't be a great blue heron because of its small size. You might notice that some of the feathers appear wispy. It has black legs, a black bill, and notice the yellowish feet. The yellowish feet would be a tip-off that this is a snowy egret. In these images, if a snowy egret is on the right, what is the white heron-like bird on the left? That is an immature little blue heron. Little blue herons as adults are easy to distinguish from these egrets because they have a dark blue coloration with some purplish if the light hits them right. And notice that the legs are a greenish yellow. And so here you can see that the little blue heron adults and the snowy egrets are easy to distinguish between, even though they can occur together. However, immature little blue herons are white in coloration, but they still possess those greenish yellow legs and a bluish bill, which will help distinguish them from the other birds in this video. Here is another white heron-like bird. It is much larger than a snowy egret and a little blue heron. This is a great egret. It is not quite as large as a great blue heron, but it is large. Notice the black legs, and this is key. Also, its bill is mostly yellowish. The bill is a bit shorter than that of a great blue heron, and that becomes important in a minute. Interestingly, during breeding season, great egrets develop a bright green colored patch of bare skin between their eye and their bill, known as lores. This bird looks very much like a great egret. It is a bit larger. In fact, it's even a bit larger than the average great blue heron. The bill is much larger than that of a great egret, and if you were to look at the legs are yellow rather than black, so it is not a great egret. Interestingly, this is actually a great blue heron. In southern Florida, also a few other places like the Caribbean, but southern Florida is actually the main range of a population which was once recognized as its own species, the great white heron, but it is now recognized as a subspecies of great blue heron, largely endemic to southern Florida. When a typical great blue heron mates with this great white heron, the hybrid offspring, known as Werdeman's herons, look like great blue herons but have a whiter head. There are a few other white birds which would be found in the same habitats as these white herons that you might confuse for them if you're looking from a distance, if you don't get a good view, if they're flying quickly overhead, or if perhaps you're a beginner bird watcher and just beginning to become accustomed to these different species. So for example, there is a white ibis, which is smaller, the size of, say, the snowy egret, a little smaller than that, but it has a pink band around its eye that extends to its pink curved bill, and the curved bill is a distinguishing feature. Wood storks are heron-like in their overall body form, but they are larger. They possess prominent black regions on their wings and tail, and their head lacks feathers, so this naked head is darker in color, so they would be easier to distinguish from the other species. Finally, for many bird watchers, the species of pelican which might be most familiar is the brown pelican. However, there is also a white pelican species, and if one did not know that, then white pelicans on the surface of the water in an area which had many of these white herons might be confusing, especially at a distance. Their large yellow bills, their shorter legs, and their feeding from the surface of the water rather than standing and hunting in a heron like fashion would be distinguishing features.